Hello, fourth grade. Welcome to your first official chapter of your textbook. We're currently in topic one or chapter one, generalized place value understanding. In this chapter, you're going to notice that we have a couple of different lessons. In your book, it's going to load a little different, but it's the same idea. You should have already completed your review what you know. And 1.1 is numbers 1 through 1 million. 1.2, place value relationships. 1.3, compare whole numbers. 1.4, round whole numbers. 1.5, problem solving, construct arguments. Then you'll have your fluency review, vocab review, reteaching, assessment practice, and for extra credit, you have your performance task. Let's go ahead and get started with 1.1, numbers through 1 million. So in this lesson, the goal is that you're going to be reading and writing numbers 1 through 1 million in expanded form with numerals and using number names. Now, in third grade, you should have already covered something like this, where we talked about how there are different ways to write the same number, expanded form, standard, and of course, using your number names. And now we're going to see how we can apply that for our new lesson. We're going to go ahead and start with our solve and share. And in your textbook, that means it's going to be on page 5. Then you're going to watch your video, complete your convince me, and then work on your guided and independent practice. For your homework, you have independent practice and problem solving. You are also going to have math notes. These math notes are optional if your parents say they are optional. If your parents say that they are required, then you will be working on them as after you've completed your lesson. And I'll show you what I mean once we're done with our solve and share. So for today's solve and share, you can go ahead and read the question. And today's math tip is you can use reasoning in solving a problem. Think about what you know about $10 bills to help you find how much money you would have if you had 10 $100 bills. And here's our question for today.
Mrs. Darcy saved 10 $100 bills. How much money did Mrs. Darcy save?
So now let's go ahead and think about it. If she saved 10 $100 bills, we can go ahead and count that up. In your book, on page 5, you can go ahead and draw that out, and you can use reasoning to help you solve that problem. Think about what you know about $10 bills, and then if you are adding up 10 of those hundreds, what would you get? So here we can see that we're going to go ahead and start with one group of 100, two groups of 100, and we're going to keep going until we get to 10 groups. So far we have 3 groups, 4 groups, 5 groups, which also means that now we have 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, and I'm going to make another 500s. So we have 500 plus 500s, and that will give us 1,000. So now we know that here we have $500 plus another, again, $500. And so if you're ever dealing with a question where it has a lot of numbers in it, don't forget you can break it apart into easier numbers as long as you keep the add-ins the same. So now I know that I have 500 plus 500, and that's a lot easier for me to add. So I know that I have $1,000 here. So Mrs. Darcy saved $1,000. Let's go ahead and watch our video for today's lesson.
What are some ways to write numbers to 1 million? Let's take a look. The graph shows the attendance at a ballpark over 1 year. Write the total attendance in expanded form and using number names. To do this, you need to know the values of the digits in the number. Place value is the position of a digit in a number that tells the value of the digit. The place value chart shows periods of 3 places, starting at the ones period from the right and including the thousands and millions periods. Each period has 3 place values, ones, tens, and hundreds. Each digit in 356,039 is written in its place on the chart. Expanded form shows the sum of the values of each digit. Use the place value chart to write the number in expanded form. 300,000 plus 50,000 plus 6,000 plus 30 plus 9. Why is using a place value chart helpful when writing a number using number names? The place value chart groups the digits into periods and labels each place value. Use the place value chart to write the number name for 356,039. You write 356,039.
Let's go ahead and try it out. And so here we can see that using our place value chart, we're able to identify exactly what value each digit has. Yes, there's a 3, a 5, a 6, a 0, a 3, and a 9, but because of their positioning, that's how we know what the value of it is. That's why we say 300,000 plus 10,000 or 5,000, 6,000 after that. So this is 50,000, 6,000. Then we have nothing in the hundreds place because there's a 0 as a placeholder. We have 3 tens, which is the same thing as 30, and 9 ones. Or 300,000 plus 50,000 plus 6,000 plus 30 plus 9. And that's the exact same as 356,039. And that's what we have here.
The place value chart, expanded form, and number names are all ways to represent numbers to 1 million.
What pattern exists in the 3 places in each period?
Now, this is going to be on page 6 for your math textbook, but it is the exact same question. So if you're ever unsure, don't worry, it's following along with your textbook. And now that we're on page 6, because we already completed page 5 with our warm-up, with our solve and share, you can go ahead and try answering this question. What pattern exists in the 3 places in each period? So here we can see that all of these periods, this is the ones period, the thousands period, and the millions period, as in an area. So here we can see in the millions period, we have 100 millions, 10 millions, 1 millions. When we look at the thousands period, we have 100,000s, 10,000s, 1,000s. And then for the ones period, we have hundreds, tens, and ones. What pattern do you notice happens within all of these periods? And it'll continue. So even if we get to millions, 100 million, so on, we'll keep going until we get to billions, trillions, and so on. It will follow this same pattern if you can figure it out. And so you might have already figured it out. You'll see that they have the same. Let me go ahead and see if I can highlight this. Here we have 100. Here we have 10. And then here we have 1. And the pattern repeats again when we get to the thousands period. Again, 100, 10, and 1. And so every time we get to a new period, as in a new area for the next numbers, right, the next place value, they will follow the hundreds, tens, and ones. So 1,000s, 1 millions, 1 billions, and so on and so on. We're now going to get started on another example and then our guided practice. So here we can see 21,125 can be expanded and written in different ways. One of the ways that we can do that is 20,000 plus 1,000. So if you notice here, this is the 20,000. Then we have 1,000 plus 100, which is right here, plus 20 plus 5. But that's not the only way. There is more than one way to solve this problem. So here you'll see we have 21,000. So they decided to break the 21,000 into one area, and then they added 100, and then they added 25 together. They didn't break it apart in the regular form of expanded form. Here's a third option that they did. So here we have 20,000, but this time they combined the 1,000 with 100. So we have 1,100 plus 20 plus 5. But all three of these are equal to each other because when you add all of these up, you will still get the exact same number. And that's how you can check to make sure that your answer is correct. Down here for the guided practice, it says, do you understand? What do you notice about the comma in the number on the previous page? Now, when it's talking about the comma on the previous page, it's talking about on page 6. And you'll notice that between each place value, even over here, it's comma, right? There is comma between every period. So here you'll notice right after the ones, there will be a comma. Then after the thousands, there will be a comma. After the millions, there will also be another comma. After billions, there'll be another comma. So every time you continue to the next period, there will be another comma. This is one of the reasons why we show each new area or each new period of numbers, right? Ones, thousands, millions, and so on, every 3 spaces. So every 3 digits, 3 spaces over, we put a comma because that's what a period is when we talk about the space between digits. So let's go ahead and go over our math notes to help go over this topic. So here we have our math notes for topic 1, generalized place value understanding, 1.1 numbers through 1 million. So place value is the value given to a place a digit has in a number. For example, here we have 792. The 7 is in the hundreds place, the 9 is in the tens, and the 2 is in the ones place. Here we have millions, and that is a period. That's why I was talking about earlier. A period, 3 places to the left of the thousands. So for example, here we have the ones, right? Here we have the thousands, so 1, 2, 3, and then, oh, right there, the fourth one on the left becomes millions. And so here a period is a group of 3 digits separated by commas. So here you'll notice again, we have 3 zeros, a comma, another 3 zeros, a comma, and so on and so forth. Every time we get to 3 digits, we put another comma. And so here's the ones, the thousands, and then the millions. And then last but not least, actually, forgot to highlight this. No, this is correct. Expanded form, a number written as the sum of the values in its digits. For example, here again, our fancy number 792, but this time we broke it apart into 700 plus 90 plus 2. And you saw earlier in the other example, we could have done 790 and then plus 2, or we could have done another variation as long as all of the digits add up to the same number. So the goal of this lesson was I can read and write numerals 1 through 1 million in expanded form with numerals and using number names. When looking at a number, there are a few ways to write it that will be equal, such as using expanded form, standard form, or written form. For example, 356,039 is written here in, this is what form? In this case, we can see that it's written with all numbers, there are no words in it, so this is standard form. Here we have 300,000 plus 50,000 plus 6,000 plus 30 plus 9, and that is written in expanded form. And 356,039, so here we have 56,039 is written in the form of the same number. So here, this is the word form of that number. So you can go ahead and fill in the blanks if you have printed this out. If you haven't printed it out and you're just following along with the video, that's fine as well. So every time a number has more than 3 digits, each period will have a comma between each period. So even in written form, this is one of the reasons why you'll notice there is a comma there. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit for you. There is a comma right there. So that way you can tell that it is a new period, is a new group of numbers, a new part of the number. So here we have 356,000, comma, 39. All right, so using what we know for the comma part, we already answered this. But remember, every time we have a period, that means three numbers that are aligned up, right? Starting in the ones place, of course, and then the thousands, and then the millions, and so on. Every time we have three numerals, we have to put a comma that separates it. For number two, write an example of a number that would include two commas. So that means you can write any number as long as it has two commas in it. And of course, you can only add those commas if you are putting them with their appropriate places. So I'll show you that over here. Let's go ahead and see if I can make this a little bit thinner. Okay. So for number one, what do you notice about the commas on the previous page? We said that each area or each period has a comma separating trying not to go over there, but it's getting a little tight on space. Separating each area. For number two, write an example of a number that would include two commas. So let's think about it. We know that we said it has to have ones, tens, hundreds. Then that's your first comma. Then another ones, tens, hundreds, and then another comma. And then now that is going to be our last number. So let's think about it. Any number, we could put a whole bunch of zeros here if we want. And then I just put a one. So here you'll notice that I have 1 million because 1 million with a zero in every other spot. But because it has our ones, our thousands, we have two commas there. For number three, it says write 7,320 in expanded form. So don't forget, when we're talking about regular expanded form, we're going to go ahead and start with the regular place value. So we'll do 7,000 plus 300 plus 20. And there's nothing in the ones place, so I don't need to add anything else. For number four, it says write 55,426 using number names. That just means that you're writing it out. So here, yes, I ran out of space a little bit, but it can still be tried. So let's go ahead and try it out. 50, running out of space. 50-5,000. I wonder if I can write over here. Oh, I can. 55,400. And don't forget, put a comma between each period, 55,000. 400 and 26. 20-6. In a recent year, 284,604 fans. Remember, if you have a word problem, circle the numbers, underline the actual question. So here we can see the first number, 284,604 fans attended the hockey playoffs in Chicago. What digit is in the thousands place in 284,604? Now remember, the key question that they're asking you here, what digit is in the thousands place, okay? They didn't say 10,000, they didn't say 100,000, they said thousands. So the first part right after the comma. So here we can see that the first part right after the comma is a 4. So we can go ahead and just write 4. And that's the end of our guided practice. For the independent practice, you can go ahead and complete this. Don't forget, read the instructions first. Show all of your math if you are explaining. And don't forget to complete the problem solving on the back. If you're stuck on any of the questions, go ahead and leave a comment in the classroom.